drop it down to my knee, Lord answer me. I know them niggas ain't fucking with me, I keep my DB. I know them niggas don't want no pipe, I keep my DB. Oh, big ass crazy. My mama tell me all the time, baby, you gonna be a star. But she don't even like me. For real. That's your dog in the young, that nigga gon' get your peak. I had to start fucking with niggas, I knew they weren't fucking with me. And I can't wait to run touch, we gon' run the mix. Shit, I can't wait to score touch, we gon' kill the mix. I know them niggas ain't fucking with me, that's why I brought the blitz. I know them niggas ain't fucking with me, that's why I put an extension. I know them niggas ain't fucking with me, I make your mama bitch. I had to move up out my mama's house, I couldn't bring the tension. Cause when I leave up out this bitch, I gotta bring the blitz. Hey, when I leave up out this bitch, I don't know if I'll come back in. And if you really acting, nigga, you know what I'm feeling. I told my niggas bull out, cause we on a mission. My girl be telling me chill out, cause she need a nigga. And plus my son, he getting older, that's my little nigga. It ain't shit I wouldn't do for my fucking chips. And making it back home and you know I ain't playing with you. I hear them niggas talking like I'll keep that playing with. I heard some niggas wanna ride me down, play with a nigga. They know we keep those splits burning, we love to smoke on niggas. I'm tired of bitch ass niggas act like we don't know a nigga. I'm tired of bitch ass niggas act like we won't get with it. I feel like I gotta pick me, I swear y'all be annoying niggas. I feel like I gotta pick me, young nigga, I keep a Jordan with me. I feel like I gotta pick these 3-3s, they a hit a nigga. These 3-3s a hit a nigga. I feel like I gotta pick me, young nigga, I keep a Jordan with me. I keep a Jordan with me. I feel like I gotta pick me, young nigga, I keep a Jordan with me. I know dog in the cup, that nigga gon' get your peak. I had to start fucking with nigga, I know you won't fuck with me. And I can't wait to run to we gon' run it in. Shit, I can't wait to score to we gon' kill the nigga. I know them niggas ain't fucking with me, that's why I put the clip. I know them niggas ain't fucking with me, that's why I put an extension. I know them niggas ain't fucking with me, I make your mama bitch. I had to move about my mama house, I couldn't bring attention. I couldn't bring attention. I had to go up out my mouth, I couldn't bring attention. Hey, when I leave about this bitch, I gotta bring the clip. Hey, when I leave about this bitch, I don't know I'll come back in. For real. Yeah.
Shout out to all the American Aborigines, all my FBA brothers and sisters in the chat. If y'all can hear me loud and clear, smack that like button on your way in. Thumb up the video, drop them fire emojis. Y'all know how it is, man. It's your brother, Big Aboriginal Power, man. Y'all already know.
See my life is winning, I'm a little winning. I'm not giving up yet. If you with me, time to place up your bet. Ain't no turning back, got niggas who ran. When we caught his ass, got caught in that jam. Yeah, you know who I am. Yeah, you know who I am. I can feel it coming. I can feel it coming. Is that feeling in your stomach? You can feel it coming. Is that feeling in your stomach? You can feel it coming. Yeah, you can feel it coming. Fake love, snake you in your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it.
Suave on the track.
Whatever it takes. Alleyway.
Coco, this your season right now.
They won't see me. They won't let me care. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, deep my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I won't let them care. They won't see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, deep my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I can't let them care. They won't see me, yeah. I put attention, all of my blood, all of my veins. They started with Perky, now that hair right up his veins. You started with serving, now them drugs drove you insane. Started with dealing, I grew up with killers, they taught me the game. I got some niggas that die behind, and that shit won't never the same. I know some niggas that lie behind, and that bullet had his name. Ain't no reason to cry about, cause that shit won't never change. MTF the 4th and P, my niggas can't get out the game. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the stern. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, hit my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the stern. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, hit my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I can't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah.
Lost, see, I glossed to it, shit ain't been the same. Heard the ops talking to the.
Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Peace and blessings. If y'all can hear me loud and clear, I want to make sure y'all can hear me loud and clear. Drop them fire emojis in the chat. We're going to get to the next couple of these jammy jams. We're going to get the intro going. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all share the live stream. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Shout out to all the American Aborigines. Peace and blessings and grand rising.
Better look at all the moving parts. You gotta understand your love. When they say love, niggas blind. Yeah, I'm introverted. I don't talk to niggas cause I'm constantly serving. I got a trap on top of my bed. I got a murder. Head goes out of black, the streets wanna murder. This shit come with burdens. The streets wanna murder. Streets wanna murder. I told you that this ain't a boss, it come with burdens. This shit come with burdens. This shit come with burdens. This shit come with burdens. Hate the city red. All the shit I seen replaying in my head. The street smoking, so we call them boys instead. Black wanna murder when they call when other bad. And I pray they would. But it was right, really. Niggas was crooked. Playing the city with niggas that cost them a bullet. They wanna do it to him, but I had to pull it. One foot in the streets, one foot in the trap, one foot on the music. I write my bars on this microphone, it's therapeutic. I know the streets, and when I talk, I can't abuse it. I can't abuse it. I can't abuse it. No, I can't abuse it. I don't talk to niggas cause I'm constantly serving. I got a trap on top of my bag, I got a murder. Head goes on the block, the streets wanna murder. This shit come with burdens. I'm introverted. I don't talk to niggas cause I'm constantly serving. I got a trap on top of my bag, I got a murder. Head goes on the block, the streets wanna murder. This shit come with burdens. The streets wanna murder. Streets wanna murder. I told you that this ain't a boss, it come with burdens. This shit come with burdens. This shit come with burdens. If they're baby, you know I get it. Stuck on the grind, bitch, I'm on a mission. Over they talking, little baby, I'm different. And on my nuts, I hate on my business. And on my phone, shit in the business. I'm really rapping the shit that I'm living. I got a problem inside of my mind. I hear the streets talking, they tell me to get it. Yeah, I gotta get it. Yeah, then she tell me I'm tripping. All of my money on top of my music to give myself what I was missing. They always broke. I never asked them niggas for a band. I never caught them niggas in the jam. I know the ops stepping in the moon. I know my head going for a jam. I don't talk to niggas cause I'm constantly serving.
Shout out to all the American Aborigines out there, man. It's a beautiful day to be an Aborigine, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Peace and blessings. DJ Cuddy in the building. Y'all already know what's going on, man. Shout out to the American Aborigines, man. The FBA brothers and sisters in the chat. I want to say peace and blessings. Hopefully everybody's having a great grand rising. Hopefully everybody's enjoying themselves. We definitely have some fire lined up for you guys. Hopefully y'all able to hit that like button immediately right now. Hopefully y'all able to share the live stream right now. So yeah, man, we got a nice little build for you guys lined up. Want to kind of get into some topics. I do definitely want to shout out some of the brothers and sisters in the chat. Before I do that, I want to put out my disclaimers. All right, I want to put out my disclaimers. And this is a wake and bake show, so man, make sure y'all greeting everybody in the chat. Each and every one of you greet each other. If you don't know each other, introduce yourself. Hey, this is a camaraderie. We all cousins in this motherfucker. Shout out to all my cousins tuning in to the chat. All right, so introduce yourself. Like I said before we even get started, we got DJ Cuddy in the building, the best to do it if you ever knew it, man.
I'm back taking risks. I'm with my man Cuddy and the cutlass to the cliffs. The dumping of a hit.
DJ Cuddy in the building. All right, now listen, man. I am not a black. I am not a black person. I am an Aboriginal. I do not teach black, promote black. or anything like that. I am not an advocate or a spokesman for Tariq Nasheed. Uh, you understand me? And when I speak on pretending Indians, I'm not talking about each and every one of you guys. I'm talking about the guys that has recently came into their Indian information or lineage within a few years, and now shit on brothers and sisters that's just now coming into the information. So that's what I mean when I say pretending Indian. I just want to get that out the way. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I want to take my time out also to shout out some of the brothers and sisters in the chat that took their time out to come support the channel today. And shout out to everybody that's not able to chat in here. So shout out to you. All right, let me take a sip of this. All right, who we got here? Dawood, Amaru, Matrix Glitz, Raku Radio, Scats, Turtle Island Niji, Barkham Live, Chick Comedy Roots, Suda Natural. Who else we got in here? Coop the Bully. We got Son of California, Big Dog Philly OG in the building. Shout out to y'all. Mr. Aboriginal Smith, Antone Williams, Craig Lloyd, Brandon Rogers, Matrix Glitch, the Ancient One, Eastside 1415. Shout out to Eastside 1415. Stephanie Burke, The Rant, X, Brother X in the building. Snake God and Aboriginal Phoenix. Hopefully I ain't missed no one as I went through the chat. Let me do a quick more run through. We got Ronnie Dunn, Ann Jones, and Internet Johnson in the chat. Peace to everybody that's in the chat. Hey, like I said, man, hey, it's a beautiful time in life to be an Aborigine or to be recognizing your lineage. You see what I'm saying? No matter where you are. Nobody, if you're not from America and, don't be ashamed. You should still be happy because now you're doing the research to find out where your truly origin is from. So do your research, you know what I'm saying? But for the majority of the people, the so-called black people in America, we know who y'all are. I know who y'all are. Y'all my cousins. You know what I'm saying? Y'all the Aborigines. You see what I'm saying? And it's just simple as that. Sometimes we gotta walk it down and like we all do. But I want to get more into a historical bag dealing with some of the sciences. I like to go in on that particular field to show how Negroes was here, the pyramids they built, the building highways, super highways, to having spiritual systems and all kind of shit. I like to go through all the various topics. You see what I'm saying? But I think it's levels to this information when we got new brothers and sisters coming into it. So we gotta take our time sometimes. But for the more brothers and sisters, for the brothers and sisters that been here since day one, I know y'all are at the advanced levels of learning. So we're not gonna shy away from that as well. We're gonna make sure we constantly feed into that lane of information as well. So shout out to you guys for being part of this Aboriginal awakening. It's an awakening. At first you thought you was woke, but you wasn't woke. You know what I'm saying? You was woke, but you wasn't woke. You see what I'm saying? You was still sitting in the bed, crusting your eyes woke. You wasn't in the, in the active motion of putting in the work out the house in the streets woke. You see what I'm saying? There's different levels to being woke. And that's what and I'm here just to guide brothers into the where I am at this woke stage. So shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Like I said, thumb up that video. Thumb up that video. I'm gonna get into some audio right now, but thumb up the live stream right now, ladies and gentlemen.
You must know the science. If you do not know the science, then you will not know how to accomplish that and how to do it successfully. All right? So what I'm saying is take a look at what I'm about to show you, and then we can make progress on these points of division, because the points of division are points of your ignorance. It has nothing to do with anything but your ignorance. All right, so let's check this out. Let's check this out. Let's look at it. So you won't argue with me. The first thing I'm going to is the Lewis.
Hey, before I even get started, I'm gonna need y'all to thumb up the video for me. I'm gonna need y'all to thumb up the video. So let me take a quick 60-second break, and I'm gonna give y'all no time to thumb up this video.
Yeah. Hey man, all I'm saying is, nigga, you always got something to say. It's like you don't shut up.
On the track.
A lot of niggas died 1865. Single Michael fled, how I ain't gon' let it ride. Everybody hiding black was never on your side. They do maps to tell your apps where you sleep at night. They put that white man on. Got you begging them for answers like that white man know. Had you swearing you was African, that's that white man home. Had you proud to be a savage, that's that white man's zone. And I ain't talking shit, this by definition. And being savage was our nature, y'all be non-existent. We done took your ass out when we was in them kitchens. Instead of showing you how to live and how to maintain business. White supremacy fake. Only way that shit real is if you do what they say. We the God to the gate. So when they say they fear God, now you know what they made.
Yo. All right, so y'all hit that like button. I see a few people went over there, hit that like button. I see a few people didn't though. So I guess y'all ain't gonna support the channel. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to give me the view.
Two aspects to this that are important. Oh, I'll let you need me. All right, so there are two aspects to this that are important. The first one is I'm going to read directly from a primary source. Let's see, what am I using? Okay, here it is. All right, this is, all right, if you know about the Lewis and Clark expedition, this was an expedition post the sale of Louisiana.
And let me shout out to now listen, he about to get into the Lewis and Clark logs of what they descriptive visual sightings of the civilization that they seen in America. And I want to say shout out to Craig for the Cash App donation supporting the $1 challenge. So make sure y'all support the channel, man. Hit the like button. The most important thing y'all can do is share the live stream. Okay, share the live stream.
A primary source. Let's see, what am I using? Okay, here it is. All right, this is, all right, if you know about the Lewis and Clark expedition, this was an expedition post the sale of Louisiana to the United States government by Napoleon after he got his ass kicked in Haiti. All right. After that, he sold to the United States the barracks of the city of New Orleans. But what we call Louisiana today was about 14 states, included the central part of the area of the continental United States of America. All right. And so that geography needs to be understood because there are two things that are here. The first one is who was in that area, which is answered in another letter. In this letter, we look at what were Lewis and Clark doing in that area? They were collecting plant samples and doing anthropological studies on the people who were in the area. And in doing so, they made a distinction between the Eurasians, who they were referring to as red men, the white men who were a part of the colonies that had become republics, and lastly, other groups of people who were not white men or red men. All right. For the sake of the term that we use today, these are black people. Specifically, the large populations of Choctaw that were in this area. I learned about this primary source from Empress Verdiasi as the head of the Washita. She was using the Lewis and Clark expedition to prove when they went on their anthropological and military expedition, who did they see? But a unique thing happened.
So did y'all get the source out of this conversation? I'm gonna run it back for 20 seconds and I'm gonna see if y'all, I want y'all to state the source that he just gave y'all on this particular topic. He gave you a source that describes the Choctaw as being black people. Okay, did y'all get the source that he just gave y'all from? He gave y'all two, reference and source. I want y'all to state it in the chat. I just wanted to make sure that y'all paying attention throughout this dialogue.
Redmen, all right? For the sake of the term that we use today, these are black people. Specifically, the large populations of Choctaw that were in this area. I learned about this primary source from Empress Verdiasi as the head of the Washita. She was using the Lewis and Clark expedition to prove when they went on their anthropological and military expedition, who did they see? But a unique thing happened in this report on page 2. So we see the source, Meriwether Lewis's report to Thomas Jefferson, April 7th, 1805. I want you to read page 2 because page 2 says something very interesting. Here it goes. All right. So Lewis is just talking about what they're doing. All right. And then he goes on to say, by reference to, I'm going to show you the actual letter, the muster rolls forwarded to the War Department, you will see the state of the party. In addition to which, we have 2 interpreters. 2 what? Interpreters. 1 Negro man, servant to Captain Clark, and 1 Indian woman, wife to one of the interpreters, and a Mandan man who we take with a view to restore the peace between the Snake Indians. All right. So ask yourself a question. Here we have the fat word interpreter. What is a Negro doing who is a servant of Captain Clark going on the expedition labeled by, in this first-hand account of Clark and Lewis and Clark, as one of the interpreters with an Indian woman? Who and what was he interpreting? And what language were the people speaking? All right? And so what we need to understand, really simply, let me go to the actual letter so you won't say, oh, well, he's not showing the actual letter. Let's make this bigger. I don't know if we can. Let's see. Can we make that bigger? All right. All right. So this is the actual letter to which we have 2 interpreters, interpreters. 1 Negro man, servant to Captain Clark, 1 Indian woman. And so what I'm saying to you, I'm not even going to go into all of this because this is one of our canons. For those of you who are engaged in Aboriginal studies in the United States of America, and you have the perspective that our ancestors were already here, that they weren't brought over here as a result of the transatlantic slave trade, you need to go through all of the letters that Thomas Jefferson, Clark, Lewis wrote to each other in respect to that particular expedition, because it unloads completely a full Aboriginal clip to show what was happening on the land. All right. That's super, 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 super important. All right? That's super, super, super important. All right? Next, I have been told or constantly, critiqued for saying that there were slaves taken from here back to Spain, back to Portugal, back to England, back to Africa. All right? And so one of the things that I want to do is go ahead and use firsthand resources again. This firsthand resource is one of the earliest resources, and it shows, well, y'all use two letters. It shows two things. All right? It shows, yes, there were Aboriginals being taken from here by people back to Spain. And it wasn't 5, it wasn't 10, it wasn't 20, it wasn't 30, it was thousands. All right? And those thousands are in records. We are not making up anything. This is exactly what it was. This is a letter from Michel da Caneo, an Italian adventurer and friend of Christopher Columbus. Caneo accompanied Columbus on his second voyage across the Atlantic in 1493. The following is part of a letter he wrote after he returned to Italy in 1495. All right. So he talks about, them being on the island and them circling Jamaica and what's now Haiti and Dominican Republic, Hispaniola, right? Talks about how many men they had. He talked about them being hungry and not having food. They had to wait. But look at what he says right here. When our caravels were ready to depart for Spain, aboard which I intended to return home, we gathered at our settlement 1,600 Indians, male and female. We loaded 650 of the best, both men and women, aboard those caravels on the 17th of February, 1495. All right? And so he just keeps on going and talking about leaving children and all of what they're doing. But my point to you is that this is first-hand research. I did not read from a book. I read directly from the letter. This is one trip where they're capturing thousands. And this is one of the early ones. The Spanish conquistadors have not even started coming at this particular point yet to continue that trade. All right? So we've been telling you this. We use the Jesuit letters. We use the Columbus letters. We go to Lewis and Clark. Each time we do that, guess what? Guess what's said about us afterwards? Guess what's said about us afterwards? What's said about us is you are not using primary source. You are not using primary sources. And my response to that is, do you know what a primary source is? All right? Do you know what a primary source is? I don't think that you do know what a primary source is. All right?
Hey, if y'all understanding the bill, what's going on, hit that fire, drop them fire emojis. If you're enjoying the bill, thumb up the video. We almost at the 30-minute marker. Let's try to bring in 300 people in this live stream while we break down Aboriginal science, history, and cosmology.
And the primary source is the original document, all right, that's used in order to communicate something in history. It's the actual document, in the sense that it is either a reproduction of that document, it has the exact same language, or it's the actual first document that's not a copy. All right? All right? All right. And so, that point needs to, I'm going to deal with each small point because we have been accused of not using primary records to show a slave trade that started in reverse. In my last lecture, I covered that from my material, and now I'm going further to prove the point. If you disagree with me, then what you're saying is that letter is fake. All right? Oh, man. All right. All right. So we got that down. We don't have to keep going over that. Right? Let's go on to our next issue, which I think is really, really, really important. Open this up. Yeah, we are lost. Now, I'm not saying that the word Indians is an accurate term to be used. And I'm going to prove it to you that that term is not an accurate term. All right, I'm going to use the law. So we said we're going to talk about socio-political and
I want people to listen up clear.
we are lost. Now, I'm not saying that the word Indians is an accurate term to be used. And I'm going to prove it to you that that term is not an accurate term. All right, I'm going to use the law. So we said we're going to talk about socio-political and lawful and legal science in here. We're going to bring some of our jurist information here to help you out. I'm going to show you why I don't use the term Indian. All right, it's pretty simple.
It's 150 people in here. Almost 150 people in here. We got 105 likes. Can we get the likes up, everybody? Can we get some thumbs up on the live stream, y'all? Go run and hit it. Don't cost nothing. It's free. You can just hit it. All right? Then about the video. If y'all can hear me loud and clear and the audio loud and clear, drop the link in the chat. And for those that might disagree with some of this, hit the link after the dialogue, and we'll have a dialogue about it. I don't agree 100% with nobody, so let's get into it.
I'm going to show you why I don't use the term Indian, and give you a legal, because what's happening here is you can decide to dismiss what I say because you are steeped in ignorance in law, international law, human rights law, etc. All right. So let me give you the definition of this, so you can stop using certain terminologies that don't apply to us. All right. And I'm going to give you a legal conversation so that you can move yourself away with the sources, so you can move yourself away from making these errors. All right. So, and this is for anybody who's using the term Indian, or anybody who is saying from a Pan-African standpoint that we are saying we're Indians. All right, check this out. This is from our jurist textbook. This is our textbook for our law class. All right, and this is Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, page 912. Indian. What is the definition? The Aboriginal inhabitants of North America. And this is the case law, Brazee versus Spokane County, 29, Washington. This is Washington State, 278. All right, you got it. The next is a body of law that is really important for legal studies and lawful studies, and that is Corpus Juris Secundum. All right, this is volume 42 of Corpus Juris Secundum. Is really important for legal studies and lawful studies, and that is Corpus Juris Secundum. All right, this is volume 42 of Corpus Juris Secundum. All right, and it says Indians. It is said, quote, Indians is what? The name given by the European discoverers of America to its what? Aboriginal inhabitants. When used in a statute without any other limitation, the term has been said to include members of the Aboriginal race, whether now sustaining tribal relations or otherwise. That is important because none of us.
Y'all understand what he's saying? Let's run that back. That you are Aboriginal and that you are an Indian, whether you're Aboriginal to this land, and they classify the Aboriginal people as Indian. So whether or not you're classified as Indian or not, you're Aboriginal. They're talking about the so-called black people of this land.
Indians is what? The name given by the European discoverers of America to its what? Aboriginal inhabitants. When used in a statute without any other limitation, the term has been said to include members of the Aboriginal race, whether now sustaining tribal relations or otherwise. That is important because none of us are required to be under the Bureau of Indian Affairs in order to operate within our capacity as Aboriginal. We don't have to sustain tribal relations with the Bureau of Indian Affairs to be who we are.
Run that back again.
That is important because none of us are required to be under the Bureau of Indian Affairs in order to operate within our capacity as Aboriginal. We don't have to sustain tribal relations with the Bureau of Indian Affairs to be who we are. That's the point. Now, my next contention, well, I'll leave that. Let's keep going. Let me show you how we get entrapped. All right? Same law dictionary, Black's Law Dictionary. Fiction of law. All right? I need you to pay attention really, really closely. All right? Yeah, I'm going to make sure that I do a Q&A. All right, so check it out. Fiction of law. Something known to be false is assumed to be true. Something known to be false is assumed to be true. All right? What is known? Who knows it to be false? That is the question. If somebody knows it to be false, but somebody is assuming something to be true, it stands as a fiction of law. All right? So I'll give you an example. African Americans think that they are citizens of the United States of America. That's what they believe. All right? In the Constitution, there is written in the original 7 articles a term called natural born citizens. African Americans are not natural born citizens of the United States of America. They are second class, amended United States citizens and residents. What does that mean? That means that you think that you now have equality, but without a legal conversation, you don't. To explain how you gained certain privileges. Right? It's called selective incorporation. And the Supreme Court had to come and give you certain rights because you were being discriminated against because you were not natural born citizens. All right? So fictitious means founded on a fiction, having the character of a fiction, pretended, counterfeit, feigned, imaginary, not real, false, not genuine, non-existent. So let me ask you a question. And this is not a shot on anyone's religion, but I want you to pay attention to words. You see this word? Fiction. Like a novel. What if I put a cruci in front of it? Crucifixion. Like the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. All right? What is that telling you? That's telling you that you are under Dumb's Diversa. All right? And we covered this a little bit last week. The doctrine of discovery said that they were going to take you out of your indigenous space and put you under perpetual servitude and force you into Christianity. This is before it happened. All right? And so we need to understand those four things that I just mentioned. Culture. The problem with our people is they have no value system or culture. And so you could claim Indian, you could claim Aboriginal, you could claim Pan-African, you have no culture. All right? So that is something that you need to understand. All right? So let's come off of that. I think y'all got that point, right? I don't got to believe in that point. If you don't understand the point, let me make it a little bit further. Here we go. This is 1868. This is over 70 years after the Constitution is already, all right, already here. What did it say? That the naturalization laws are hereby extended to aliens of African nativity and to persons of African descent. That's July 14th, 1870. The country had already been operating. And so what you need to understand is this. What I'm trying to explain to you is this. I'm going to really help you understand these 4 points I made about mental freedom, cultural freedom, economic freedom, and nationality and political freedom. You need to understand this. If white,
I need everybody in the chat to hit the like button, thumb up the video. We almost got 200 people in here. Let's try to bring in another 120 people in here. You feel what I'm saying? Let's try to bring in a few more people. They tap in.
males were the only citizens. Their wives were considered their property, and they had over almost 100-year head start on you to run in a race. And now we look at them and they own almost everything as far as wealth is concerned, and still have you in a position of bondage to their wealth. That means the country was built for white men. Period. Now, what they did is something real slick. They committed genocide on you to make you think you're something that you're not. And they are really, really shrewd. And by doing so, if you don't start your own body politic, like they did, for your own thriving and self-preservation, like they did, you are going to stay behind forever. Period. You're going to stay behind forever. And so that is the issue. An artificial citizen, second-class citizen, a beggar can never compete. And you are in competition because there is a war, both covert and overt, that is being carried out against you. All right? And so what I'm saying to you is we are talking about the Aboriginal paradigm, not just to argue back and forth with Afrocentrics on whether we are here or not. That's not even an argument. You can't have that argument. You cannot have that argument. It's impossible. It'll blow you out of the water with that one. But the argument that we are having is the socio-political and economic future of our people. All right? That is important. And so if we are not going to man up and understand what has happened to us, all right, then we will have a perpetual problem. So now, let me do this, because this is important. Let me end this issue that we have developed where we think everybody is for us, right? That's what we think. We think everybody is for us. I mean, not want that to happen.
Hey man, we almost at an hour marker. We just hit 200. Let's bring in another 100 people in the live stream. The only way we're gonna do that, unless each and every one of you guys share the live stream. I need y'all to share the live stream. We just now getting into the nitty-gritty of this dialogue. All right. I'm not gonna be able to play all of this. We're gonna do a part 2 to this. So make sure y'all tune in. So I need y'all to pay attention critically right now.
See if this is working. Where we are divided on is because we don't have a scientific basis for uniting. So you got the Aboriginals, the ideology, all right, arguing. Semitic arguing with the Hebrews arguing with the Moors arguing with the Muslims arguing with the Christians, blah, 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 blah. And what we need is clarity on what type of culture can we unite on. All right? And I'm going to show you right now. All right? I'm going to go to our protocol manual. This is our protocol manual in Army. I'm going to show you what unity looks like when you don't.
Shout out to the brother for putting together his nation. He doing his thing. Shout out to him.
In Aboriginal America as an educational platform. Code.
Let's get up a little bit.
All right. So I'm going, don't worry, I'm going to the masonry because I have to deal with this issue. Because now I'm going to get cursed out. But it's all right. I have to do something that might disturb some people. But that's okay. That is okay with me. All right. That is okay with me. As a matter of fact, I think I would. Do I want to do that? All right. So I will do it. I will do it. many of the deities, all right, that we have in the pantheon, in the American pantheon, as I proved to you, pyramid building was developed here and it spread east.
I just want to confirm that pyramid building, the form that we call pyramid masonry technology or science, was created in America and then made its way to the east by way of Europe, Asia, Africa, Middle East. Okay, it came from America first. I just want you FBA and you Aboriginal brothers and sisters to understand what your ancestors had always been the trendsetters around the world. I just want y'all to know that.
All right. I want to show you another photo of a deity. And it comes from
long time. That means it's time for you sleepy niggas to wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Time for you to wake up. I've been asleep too long. Time for you to start recognizing and checking your lineage.
Columbus's journals, where he, I don't know if I can find this. Let's see. Where Columbus was talking about how some of the people told him that there were blacks who brought spears from the south. I don't even have that quote right now, but I'll see if I can find it before we get off. I'm opening up like a million files right now, so give me a minute. All right, this one I want to talk about is Exua. On here? Maybe not. Let's see if I can open them up. All right. And this is from the Madrid Codex. There's several.
I want y'all to pay attention to these sources that he's giving y'all. I want y'all to go do y'all due diligence, look it up, critique it, challenge it. See if you come to the same conclusion, cross-reference it. You know what I'm saying? This is how you're able to come up with a sturdy understanding. I'm gonna run that back so y'all can hear them sources. And when you hear them, call them out. Just type it in the chat once you hear the story.
Let's see if I can open them up.
I want y'all to call it out.
All right. And this is from the Madrid Codex. There's several depictions of Exua. And so in Columbus's journals, they say, oh yeah, these metals that we have here, we got them from some black people from the South. All right. Journals, they say, oh yeah, these metals that we have here, we got them from some black people from the South. All right. So this is Ek-Chua. Ek-Chua. Ek is the same as Ik that I just showed. And Ik covers the element air. I want you to pay really close attention to this, because what I'm showing you is where in the East they develop these mythologies around ancestral archetypes. All right. So this archetype, all right, is called Ik, right? Or Ekchua. Ekchua was a she deity of merchant, trade, commerce, right? And traveling through the sea. Those pointed spears that Columbus was talking about are right here in an actual codex. Look at his phenotype, son. son? Beard? All right, so you got it. You know who this is. This is the original man. But these gold-tipped spears, all right? We can trace where these come from. But the point is that Ik means air. He is the deity of travels and trade. Now, it is important for you to understand that the art, the aesthetic art of the time was not based on hocus pocus things. The artist had to see someone who looked like this in order to depict him. I'm going to say it again. The artist had to see someone who looked like this to depict this character. You cannot get this phenotype, right? You cannot get this phenotype, right, without seeing the person. You can't. It's important for you to understand that. All right? And so, when you look at Ektua, Ik means air. All right, so let me jump right to it. In the Punic pantheon, this deity is Mercury. Mercury is the lord of the air. Mercury became the lord of the air sign, Gemini. All right, and an earth sign, Virgo. Mercury was the lord of travel and trade in the Punic civilizations. This eventually spread into the Greek, Minoan, and other civilizations. This deity in Africa, which the African version of this deity came afterwards, is called Ekshu. All right? All right? Ekshu. Ekshu is a deity in the Ifa tradition. Ekshu is the messenger of Olodumare. Ekshu protects one in travels. Or there are many different versions of Elegua, but this Ekshu is one of them. The etymology of the word comes from America.
Damn. Drop a bomb.
Right? This Ekshu is one of them. The etymology of the word comes from America. All right? That's super, 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 super important. All right? And so as we go through these, we need to understand the chronology of when something happens. And then we need to understand the phenotype, which leads to genotype, and then the cultural conclusions that we can come to when we have the linguistics, etc., is how did this deity affect other pantheons? All right? All right, so let's go to our next figure, because I want to show something that's important. Let's see if I can come off of that. All right. So, like I said, I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody, but this will help you if you're interested. You know, people want to ignore it just because. They can do that. Go right ahead. The next issue is a cultural issue, right? And I have to bring it up, all right? And when I brought it up last time, Barry got mad at me and said I was disrespecting Dr. John Henry Clark. I was not disrespecting Dr. John Henry Clark. All right? I was not disrespecting Dr. John Henrik Clarke. But let me ask you a question. John Henrik Clarke was a great historian according to Afrocentrists and Pan-Africans. And he's considered a pioneer. For a man who studied Africa that much and is supposed to love Africa that much, I have a question. This is just a legitimate question. He was born John Henry Clarke. He changed his name to John Henrik Clarke. And when you investigate why he changed his name to John Henrik Clarke, you come up with this. Let me show you. This is who he named himself after. He didn't name himself John Mansa Musa Clarke. He didn't name himself John Kenyatta Clarke, John Sunny Ali Clarke, John Tutankhamun Clarke. He didn't do that. He named himself John Henrik Clarke. And when we gather the information of where he got that from, it's going to bother us a little bit. It's going to bother us a little bit, but that's okay. Sorry if we're a little bothered. Check this out. Who is this man right here? This is the white man, Henrik Ibsen, who John Henrik Clarke named himself after. For a person who is so adamant about African culture and African rights, why would you name yourself after a European with all of these African greats that you can name yourself after? Why would you do that? That is the question. Why would you do that? Why was it important to have yourself named after a European? Why? This is not a slight, this is a question. This is a cultural question. All right? This is a cultural question. It's the same question that I asked Jabari when I saw what I suppose was a boule technique, or boule tactic, I should say. That Clarke, who are using Negro interpreters, see this might exist between the North African tongues and those of North America. So they sing the song from the halls of Montezuma. Here's the halls of Montezuma right here, to the shores of Tripoli. And this is a song sang by the United States military, and it's the oldest military song. And what is it celebrating? It's celebrating the conquering of Aboriginals. And so look at what Thomas Jefferson had to say. Check this out. Look at what he had to say. During his term, or this is said about him, during his term as president of the American Philosophical Society, Thomas Jefferson disclosed that earlier in his life, he assumed his burdens of public life. He had personally excavated a what? An ancient Indian mound in Virginia. Communications with United States.
Let's run that back a little bit.
Him to interpret Ebonics amongst Aboriginals? No. All right.
Let's run that back a little bit.
He brought the military. They saw all of these mounds. They had military forts from the French in this area right here. They went on an expedition throughout all of this area to see who was here. And they used Negro interpreters. What language does a Negro speak? Ebonics? Were they using him to interpret Ebonics amongst Aboriginals? No. All right. So they sing the song from the halls of Montezuma. Here's the halls of Montezuma right here, to the shores of Tripoli. And this is a song sang by the United States military, and it's the oldest military song. And what is it celebrating? It's celebrating the conquering of Aboriginals. And so look at what Thomas Jefferson had to say. Check this out. Look at what he had to say. During his term, or this is said about him, during his term as president of the American Philosophical Society, Thomas Jefferson disclosed that earlier in his life, he assumed his burdens of public life. He had personally excavated a what? An ancient Indian mound in Virginia. Communications with United States Consular Representative in Philosophical Society. Thomas Jefferson disclosed that earlier in his life, he assumed his burdens of public life. He had personally excavated a what? An ancient Indian mound in Virginia. Communications with United States Consular Representative in Tripoli and Algiers, in consequence against the war against the pirates of the Barbary Coast, drew to Jefferson's attention the possibility that some linguistic relationship might exist between the North African tongues and those of North America. Stop. When you do your DNA studies amongst certain older populations and bones and other things found amongst Cherokee and Choctaw, you find a North African genetic element. And I'm going to talk about what that is. Encountered the collection of vocabularies by the consuls of North Africa and also by American explorers such as Lewis and Clark, who were using Negro interpreters. See this, let me break something down to you. It's uncomfortable to talk about histories that you've never heard before. It's uncomfortable to talk about history that you've never heard before, because now you have these dents in your brain, right? And the brain wants the information that you receive to be accurate, because to change it is uncomfortable. All right? It's uncomfortable to change it. All right? It's uncomfortable. All right? So look at what Thomas Jefferson is saying. He said, wait a minute, there's some connection between these languages. Then he had Lewis and Clark with a Negro doing interpretation. They were encountering who? So-called American Indian tribes not previously known. So what's the connection between these languages? I use Shua and am proposing that certain deities pass from America to Africa. Certain mythos, certain traditions. Already proved in the last lecture, the pyramid building started here and moved east into what we know of as Kemet. Now what I'm going to show you is linguistically, right? The language, the natives have no languages. Oh, yes, they do. There's a book by Jules Covet called The Berbers in America. And basically, he goes over the names of almost 50 Berber tribes. And what he finds out is they match Aboriginal American tribes. So the question is, which came first? I'm saying the American ones came first. And I'm going to give you a different migration pattern so you can understand how what got where. I used the pyramids last week. Go back and look at that lecture, please. But I'm also going to give you the possibility that there's some people who don't want us to know this information. So what I'm going to do is do both of these particular things. First, I'm going to show, hopefully I can show this without having to go too deep, because this is in a book that I have called The Aboriginal, the More of the African. And you can buy that book and get that information. But what I want to share is that when I showed the pyramid building moving from the Americas in Mexico to Africa and to Egypt, with that activity comes a lot of other things, linguistic and traces of who peopled Egypt. Afrocentrics hummed this lie forevermore that the Nubians found from the south founded Egypt. That is a lie. Egypt was founded by Westerners coming from the northwest part of Africa. Why is that important? Because ultimately, what you're going to find out is that these populations migrated from here to do so. That is what you're going to find out. That is a completely different migration pattern, and we can time it. And so I'm going to help myself with doing that, and then we're going to come back to this John Henry Clark issue and this Boule issue. So let me do that. Now, when it comes to these migration patterns, I already killed it with the DNA stuff. I actually will go back over that. I don't have a problem going back over that. Because I'm not going to let nobody take away from what we're about to prove here. What is the point that we're trying to prove here? Is that the socio-political economic dynamic of a body politic formed by Aboriginals to rectify their situations is the best. In order to do so, we have to bust up a bunch of distorted reconstructions to give you better ones. All right, so let me help myself.
Hey, this part of the video he about to go in, I want y'all to pay attention very clear.
I'm going to prove now.
We got 250 people in here. Let's try to get another 75 people in the live stream. The only way we're going to be able to do that, brothers and sisters, is for each and every one of you guys to go share it on a social media platform that you haven't shared it on, or if you haven't shared it today, go share the live stream. Thumb up the video.
I'm going over to Africa now. I got to go to Africa because I got to prove something that you don't know about African history. And I'm going to use the proper history. All right. Let me prove my point. All right. So look, check this out. A little bit further. He tried to show you this, but he did it in a different direction. Really big file. Hope you look at a number of things. All right. Was Egypt founded by indigenous peoples in the western part of Africa? And I have to do this in two parts. The other part I can't do today, which shows they literally came from the Americas. But this first part will be easy. All right. So Talmeri, which is the name of Egypt, is their origins in Nubia. All right. We can look at genetics. We can look at a number of things. We can look at the utterances. This is utterance 242 from the pyramid text. What does it say? The flame is extinguished. No light is found in the house of him who possesses the bed. Is this somebody talking about their parents? Now, this glyph right here, I'll explain in a minute, because this is going to blow the whole cap off. You see the she in this, right? This is gonna blow the whole cap off. All right, so let me go. Let's keep going. All right, so this is Amunatep, the third. All right. Ringo year 5, and what does he say? Why is my daughter staring at me? I'm gonna make her come on here and teach this live stream. All right. So what does he say? King of Upper and Lower Egypt. All right. Nehemiah Ray, Arab Ray, son of Ra. All right.
I'm trying to pay attention to what's going on. Let me run that back a little bit.
I have to do.
Let me run that back a little bit.
Which way should I go with this? Okay, I'll do it like this then. All right. So let's debunk this real quick. All right. Was Egypt founded by indigenous peoples in the western part of Africa? And I have to do this in 2 parts. The other part I can't do today, which shows they literally came from the Americas. But this first part will be easy. All right. So Tamari, which is the name of Egypt, is their origins in Nubia. All right. We can look at genetics. We can look at a number of things. We can look at the utterances. This is utterance 242 from the pyramid text. What does it say? The flame is extinguished. No light is found in the house of him who possesses the bed. Is it?
So he's giving a primary on how Americans went over to, I guess, that part of Africa. Okay.
Somebody talking about their parents? Now, this glyph right here, I'll explain in a minute, because this is going to blow the whole cap off. You see the she in this, right? This is going to blow the whole cap off. All right, so let me go. Let's keep going. Whole cap off. You see the she in this, right? I'll explain in a minute, because this is going to blow the whole cap off. You see the she in this, right? This is going to blow the whole cap off. All right, so let me go. Let's keep going. All right, so this is Amunatep, the third. All right. Ringo year 5, and what does he say? Why is my daughter staring at me? I'm going to make her come on here and teach this live stream. All right, so what does he say? King of Upper and Lower Egypt, all right? Nehemiah Ray, Arab Ray, son of Ra, all right? King of the gods, and Noon, Lord of the cataract, given life. He's just talking about, his title. Then he goes on to say, one came to tell his majesty, the fallen one of vile Cush has plotted rebellion in his heart. His majesty led on to victory. He completed it in his first campaign of victory. His majesty reached them like the wing stroke of a falcon, like Menthu in his transformation. Ikeni, the boaster in the midst of the army, did not know the lion that was before him. Nehemiah Ray was the fierce-eyed lion whose claws seized wild Cush, who trampled down all his chiefs in their valleys, they being cast down in their blood, one on top of the other. Does that sound like somebody who's talking about their origins or their parents? Like the wing stroke of a falcon, like Menthu in his transformation. Ikeni, the boaster in the midst of the army, did not know the lion that was before him. Nehemiah Ray was the fierce-eyed lion whose claws seized wild Cush, who trampled down all his chiefs in their valleys, they being cast down in their blood, one on top of the other. Does that sound like somebody who's talking about their origins or their parents? Now, by the time you get to the 25th dynasty, and you did get some Cushites who came to push out some foreigners, they weren't the same lineage as the older New Kingdom, Middle Kingdom, and Old Kingdom dynasties. How can you prove it? It's easy. Pretty easy to prove. All right. Other instances. All right. The Hyksos, Apophis, the Hyksos king, allied with the kings in Nubia to come against Egypt. All right, this is the source, Aspects of Egyptian Foreign Policy in the 18th Dynasty in Western Asia and Nubia by James Hoffmeyer. This was his dissertation. All right. You don't have to make anything up. This is Egyptians. These are the Nubians. Different phenotypes, different genotypes. One did not come from the other in the sense of how you're trying to say it. Nope. Bound. All right. And so when we look at the origins, let's go back so I can break it down. I have to read this whole thing to you. All right. This is Bubalus antiquus, found in Tassili in Algiers, rock carvings. This animal is now extinct, but was a type of cattle in the Sahara when it was a fertile grassland, which leads to the conclusion that the founders of Egypt, just like their records say, came from the West. Let's read it. On the origins of certain original and influential dynasties of Egypt. All right, I gotta make this bigger so you can see it. Oh, wrong one. My bad. All right. There are different types of Africans. It is the author's contention that the original name of the Egyptians, commonly called Himenu, was Mary, after the sovereign, or Neb, whom we mistakenly call Pharaoh. The term Mary, with its variants that refer to the leader, means heir, in the sense of political and religious or spiritual heir. Heir to the system of Maya, and heir to the land as sovereign for the empire. Mary was the name of what we call Egypt. Most current Afrocentric and some Egyptologists assert that the origin of the Egyptians was from the south. I assert that only particular dynasties assert this, and those that did were few in number and late. Specifically, the 25th dynasty asserts this claim, and a part of the Middle Kingdom dynasty 12. Yet
So this whole Egypt was built on the Nile Valley conversation comes from later dynasties. And we know that the later dynasties didn't like the prior dynasties because they erased kings lists. They totally wiped and redid hieroglyphics of them majority over the wall of the other dynasties. So that means they didn't like them. And after that, it shows you see that they don't do that. They don't destroy the other dynasties' information. They actually revere it. It shows that they had a camaraderie. So the earlier dynasties that established Egypt was not liked by the later dynasties that invaded.
Classical Old Kingdom, some Middle Kingdom and New Kingdom founders were clearly anti-Nubian in their stele, in the sense of having an origin as they claim it in other places, not the South. Specifically, the claim of being foremost or the pure Westerners leads us to investigate the terms, because this is all throughout the pyramid text. All right, that's what they said. Kintia Mintu. Foremost of the Westerners. Foremost of the Westerners. Why did they keep saying? They didn't say foremost of the Southerners. They could have easily said that. Leads us to investigate the terms and origins of the Magi militaries and the mythical leaders like Asar. Did they come from the South? No, they did not originate. We're going to show you where. That term applied to both the dead and their origins, and Asar represented a dead king and kingdoms. Simply put, what was West? The answer is complex, yet it is evident that the West was large. There were vassals in the West that termed themselves Mary too. And we can identify this group today in Africa and in the Americas. We won't do the second part. That's too long and too extensive. Right? Yes, the author is claiming that the original Mary were Merops of classical Greek texts and Moors of classical history. And
Mary, what do you get Mary from? What does Mary from? The origin of that word Mary, origin is in America. Y'all have to start doing your linguistics etymology, bro. When you go back and look up the Amaru or the Ameri tribe, that goes back to America.
Ethnic group that has morphed names yet kept similar Afro-Asiatic language, culture, and genetics via the ethnic groups this applies to. Historical verification has come. The origins of the famous stance of the pharaoh smiting his enemies, prehistoric rock carvings, evidence of the semi-nomadic prehistoric peoples that are still semi-nomadic today, and the shamanistic origins of Egyptian priesthoods clearly identifies the Kinti Amintwi, foremost of pure Westerners among the mythical leaders of Egypt, as was no myth. Asar was from the West, indeed a dead king from past kingdoms, mostly lost to environmental circumstances, yet his green color connects him to the grasslands of the Sahara, an ancient grassland that is presently a desert. The Tassili and Jer rock carving findings prove that the Sahara was a fertile grassland for these semi-nomadic peoples. There are many other proofs. These peoples today are Africa's largest ethnic group called the Fula, and it was amongst the primal Fula, the oldest lineages, that we have a trace back to the Sahara populations that founded the early dynasties of Egypt, not Nubia. Yes, the author is asserting West and Central Africans founded Egypt, not southbound Africans. Linguistic diversity proves their homeland was as west as we can get in Senegal, Morocco, Mauritania, Mali. Now, when you go to the latest find, the Ermud finds in Morocco of the oldest Homo sapiens in Africa are in West Africa. They're not in South Africa. They're in West Africa. Say that again. According to your evolutionary biologist, who you trust in, the oldest findings are from the area that I'm talking about. All right? Their Niger Cordovian language proves that they moved west. Their shamanic culture and uses of livestock, some extinct as in this photo, is the most ancient and unparalleled. Their physical features amongst their clans match the old kingdom to new kingdom dynastic leaders. Phenotypes, genotypes, history, epigraphy, migration, mythos. Literature left in first-hand resources of the pyramid text saying they're from the West. Case closed. Now, those populations are now calling themselves, or are called, the Amazigh. In the text, they were called the Amashi. I know I'm not making it up. Let me show you. All right. These are the utterances.
And who are the sheep people? The sheep people are the Olmecs. He's just telling you that the Olmecs went to West Africa, which I have another source that states that the Olmecs in Central and South America went to West Africa. I'm gonna pull that source up right after you get done.
This is where they're saying they're the foremost of the Westerners, pyramid text, etc., etc. All right. So this term right here, which I won't translate fully, but it's a foreign term, meaning the word was not a part of the Medu nature when it was written in the dynasty that was written. It's older. And this is after mixing populations in Egypt. But you have this Amashi surviving in the language as a foreign term, which we call Amazigh today, mistakenly, but Amashi is directly connected to further west. But I will say this to conclude that Egyptians were not Southern Africans. They were not Nubians. That's important. They weren't. All right? They were North Africans and Northwest Africans. That's important for you to know. And I got a lot more daggers on that. So that's a deviation from my original points, but I had to make that particular point because now I want to make.
So now listen, what he was talking about is, I'm gonna get to that source in a second. Let's keep it going.
People, where our opposition will come when we are in socio-political movements that affect economics, that affect the social fabric of the country. You had never been. You know who this is right here. This one's gonna blow your mind. This is the dude who Kaepernick was trying to come after. Francis Scott Key. They got you singing his song, Slave Owner. Slave Owner. Why is it that NFL players are going to get fined if they don't stand up for this guy? You see how this works? You see how this works? These were the people who got together, conspired to suppress your Aboriginal history. They got together to conspire. They formed the American Colonization Society to send you to a place that you had never been.
And that's how your people ended up in Liberia. This is how American Aborigines end up in Sierra Leone and Cameroon.
It wasn't no black people meeting up. They took the names as Masons that were given to them. That's what they did. So let's go a little bit further. Was it not? How is it that you could be a Mason? Like, think about this. I'm going to show you this. And I want you to think about this. How is it that you can be a Mason and pushing Egypt, right? When it was Masons that separated Egypt from Africa. All right. Let me be clear and with detail, because I always give you the first-hand resources. So you're never going to accuse me of not being accurate. You are Afrocentric Mason, but it was Masons who tried to separate Egypt from Africa, and you're trying to bring Egypt back into Africa. What are you doing? But you don't want to hear nothing Aboriginal. You want to hear nothing close to you. Pyramids down the street from you, you don't want to hear it. You want to go to pyramids that's damn near 8,000 miles away.
Right.
But one's right down the street from you, you ain't trying to hear that. You ain't got nothing to do with that.
People didn't have shit to do with them, did they?
We can bring you everything. You ain't trying to hear it. All right, so look. Let's find where they did it at.
Cake
They certainly separated. Runs. It was Anderson's Constitution where they started separating and saying Egypt is not in Africa, basically. Masons did that. Let's show you. I'm going to show you how they did it. Then they had the nerve. See the whole. All right, let me give you the context in which I'm speaking. So you can see clearly. I just showed you, right, to start off with, Lewis and Clark, right? Showed you Lewis and Clark because I wanted you to see that Negroes were used as interpreters in Indian lands. What languages could a Negro interpret? That's the first question you should ask. Why is he taking them to interpret? Then I showed you that our people, right, were being taken from the West, starting way back with Columbus in the thousands, back to Spain, Portugal, all these areas. And we can go further. We can go into Africa. And that's significant. All right? That is significant. It's super significant. All right? So we showed you that. Then we go and we show you that Egypt was peopled from the northwest by a people who we call the Fula. All right? Who we're saying these various types of Fula and Berbers are directly connected to Native American tribes linguistically. We gave you the book, Jules Cabot, The Berbers in America. It's in French, all right? You don't have a translation for that. I've never seen one. You have to have somebody.
Jeez, so Fulani ain't even African. He's pretty much telling you that these Africans ain't even Africans for real. And we're going to get into that. We're going to get into genetic bottlenecks, and we're going to get into a population bottleneck.
Speaks French to break that down to you. Dr. Ivan Van Sertima was the first person I saw to source that particular book. That's how I found out about it, and he wrote about it, and they came before Columbus. Okay, so now, connection is made, but what type of connection? By the time I get to Masonry, I'm dealing with people who are trying to suppress Aboriginal histories and the last aspect in West Africa, Aboriginal history in West Africa, of a Renaissance. And that happened under the Moorish Empire. And so when you look at Columbus's journals, when you look at the Masons, what do they attack? What did John Henrik Clarke attack? As profound a historian as he was, they always try to attack West African, North African, East African, even Arabian Islam. They do that. They do that hard. They whitewash the history. They do that hard. That is a Masonic tactic. That's what I'm trying to get to. Masons know that they got their whole Renaissance from indigenous African Moors, indigenous African Muslims. But in Anderson's Constitution, which I'm about to show you, this is what they say. So I'm trying to show you the war that is played. So look, this is Anderson's based on the Constitution. All right. As the Asiatic and African nations fell under the same calamity by the conquest of the Mohammedans, whose grand design is only to convert the world by fire and sword instead of cultivating the arts and sciences. Are you kidding me? This is in the Masonic Constitution. The Renaissance that was brought back to Africa. I showed you through the prime meridian signs that it was the Moors, the Muslims, who brought back the prime meridian signs. This is before the Arabs came in and Arabized. These are Aboriginals on the African continent who did that. I wrote a 437-page dissertation on this information. And so what I'm saying is, how can Masons, who are the products of Renaissance Europe, right, tell anybody that the people who created the Renaissance, who inspired the Renaissance, are not about cultivating the arts and sciences? Everybody knows the area in Spain that we're talking about was under the control of indigenous Africans for over 700 years, who cultivated arts and sciences. So what would make Masons want to suppress this? And why do Afrocentrics do the same thing that the Masons do? These are questions. How can you be Afrocentric and Greek culturally? Now we're talking about cultural phenomena. All right? You can't. That's like me saying I want to be Powhatan and Iroquois. Not going to be that way. Why? Iroquois or Mingwe are Eurasians. The Powhatan are Aboriginals of North America. If you don't know the history, you might confuse the two. I don't go to powwows and do Mingwe ceremonies. Powwow literally comes from us. It's powwow, which is the solstice and the equinox celebration.
Powhatan.
You follow?
Which is the 4 seasons. Which you see that romanticized on the flag right here. You see this romanticized on the flag right here. You see what I'm saying? On the Chickamauga flag, they giving you the Powhatan symbol of the 4 seasons, the earth, wind, fire, earth, you know, all that, the main 4 elements. Trying to get your game, G. I'm about to get ready to drop the link in the chat.
So this is about learning. This is about education. This is about a well-rounded education. So it's like the outside of a puzzle. If you don't have the outside, you don't know how to fill in the pieces. And so what I'm telling you is, as we move forward and we do well with the Aboriginal paradigm in medicine and natural sciences and economics, your greatest detractors will be people who look like you who some of whom may be allied with the enemy. Maybe.
And I'm gonna end it right there. All skin folk and kin folk. The link is in the chat. Once again, the link is in the chat. I'm gonna play a quick 60-second get down, and we'll be right back.
Yeah. Hey man, all I'm saying is, nigga, you always got something to say. It's like you don't shut up.
On the track.
A lot of niggas died 1865. Single Michael fled, highway ain't gon' let it ride. Everybody hollering black was never on your side. They do maps to tell your apps where you sleep at night. They put that white man on. Got you begging them for answers like that white man know. Had you swearing you was African, that's that white man home. Had you proud to be a savage, that's that white man's zone. And I ain't talking shit, this by definition. And being savage was our nature, y'all be non-existent. We done took your ass out when we was in them kitchens. Instead of showing you how to live and how to maintain business. White supremacy fake. Only way that shit real is if you do what they say. We the guards of the gate, so when they say they fear God, now you know what they made.
All the American Aborigines out there in the chat, make sure y'all hit that live button. Make sure y'all hit that link, man, that want to come on. You know what I'm saying? Hit the link. All right, let me get ready to set this up so we can allow some of the other brothers on the panel. We already got one brother on here already. I don't know who this is. What's going on, brother? King Cass, can you hear us? Yo, this is King Cass.
I'm there, man. What the hell you got on this goddamn nigga gonna put I'm gay? You motherfuckers. What's up, man?
Man, what you was hearing is some of the brother that pushes and talk about the same thing, you know, that we talk about, how the great Americans developed this pyramidal technology, which is one of the keystones to the advancements of society or civilization. And we brought this awareness around the world, you know, establishing great cornerstones like you call Egypt, that was established by American Negroes. So, like I said, man, we just going through, dropping that history, giving you sources, you know, that's all.
Man, my brother, look, he started.
What's going on, John Bricks?
He started touching on them African Moors on there. He was touching on it, man, but I think that history is not as black and white as people make it or whatever, on both sides. Because you got a lot of these white looking North Africans talking about all the Moors were brought there as slaves and stuff like that. So I've been debating with them and arguing with them about that, because a lot of the mysticism that comes into that whole Moorish paradigm comes from the sub-Saharan Africa. You know, the Wolof, you know what I'm saying, the Fulani, the Tubab, and also the other groups in there, Mali and everything. A lot of that information is coming out of Mali, and it's mixing in with a lot of the North African culture and going up into Spain with the Sufi Muslims. You know what I'm saying? But that's one thing that a lot of folks ain't talking about.
Yeah, man, give a round of applause for King Cass kicking that bullshit on this panel, man. Shout out to King Cass. No, I'm just bullshitting. Shout out. I got no information on no history. Shout out to my brother John Briggs.
Peace to the gods. What's up, though? What up, though?
Man, just dropping some of this fire history, giving some dialogue to get into about how some shit about the Americas, some highlighted facts about the inventors of masonry, pyramidal masonry technology and science. You know what I'm saying? Us establishing cornerstones and advancing civilization all over, you know.
very essential, especially that masonry shit, especially the masons in general. You know what I'm saying? Especially the gatekeepers, you know, all that type of shit is the main reason why a lot of this information is rare to our people now.
Yeah. A lot of these gatekeepers is the reason a lot of your Aboriginal history and cosmology is not being distributed or was cut off from us knowing. You feel what I'm saying? And motherfuckers like uh what's a couple of these black motherfuckers? Richard Allen, uh uh Paul Cuffey them, all these motherfuckers that came around. You feel me? Dealing with the American Colonization Society, W.E.D. Du Bois. You feel what I'm saying? All these particular political groups.
Didn't W.E.B. Du Bois help sabotage the Marcus Garvey movement as well?
He didn't like he never liked Marcus Garvey. He never,
exactly.
And they got along at one point in time, but for some reason, I guess I forget what the particular reasons was. He didn't like Garvey reason.
But that's why I wish people to stop saying
Garvey was a scam.
Yeah, but you know, also the FBI was promoting that same shit. So the question was W.E.B. Du Bois? This is the question. I don't know how true this is, but a lot of folks say, a lot of rumblings say that, you know, W.E.B. Du Bois and all them talented 10th niggas was siding with the damn FBI when they were going after Marcus Garvey.
Oh yeah, we don't know about that, G, but shit, they could be facts, but it still wouldn't negate the fact that W.E.B. Du Bois was working with the white boys, you know, as a boule member to directly cause chaos and disruption in our community, setting up the AME churches that you see that will have direct impact on our people. These were set up by these same people. You see what I'm saying? We can't negate that fact. Shout out to Indigenous on the panel too, man. We got Indigenous on the panel.
What's going on? Pan-Africanism.
Indigenous. Hold on, bro. Indigenous, can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I hear you. I hear y'all.
Who's
there? I'm coming right back. Yeah, my bad, people.
Over there.
Hey, you know the queen of the house. You know she gotta put a word in with me. So
that's a fact.
But peace to the channel, peace to everybody. I love the build. Ali Muhammad is one of my favorite when it comes to information, and I hope everybody was able to soak a lot of what he was saying up, especially if you're still under the illusion that you are African, as a Pan-African. If you are under illusion that you come from Africa, understand that Indians, plenty of Black Americans in the early stages were taken all throughout Europe and West Africa. And before we were taken anywhere, we were already building everywhere. So I hope everybody got some of that.
That's a reach, brother. That's a reach.
What was the reach? You got to identify the reach.
The Americans that were taken over there were Africans that were brought to the Americans, and the ones that grew up here and, you know, took on the white man's traditions and whatnot, they took them back to Africa and Europe. They were already doing the triangular slave trade from Africa directly to Europe already.
Africans already here 1,000 years ago. You know, well now.
Yeah, but he's being disingenuous, he's not telling the whole history. Y'all got to look at those tapes. You got to remember who was there in Africa first taking slaves was the Portuguese, and who were the earliest of the Europeans to come over here? It was the Portuguese that were coming over here. We're talking about the 1500s.
Absolutely not. Like I said, was already described as people on the land. We already got the carvings that go back 2,000, 3,000 years ago. So when you looking at the population of the people, you have to look at a time frame, and you stay with that time frame. Then you go find epigraphy or artifacts that oppose and show the descriptive characteristics of these people at that time frame. And it's all consistent with black and Negro. This is a fact. This is how you get to these codexes and steles or these goddamn statues. You feel what I'm saying? Like El Negro, Fountain La Venta, which is one of the oldest Olmec statues. They call it El Negro. Got a fucking Negro with Afro, bro. Like, dismiss me with the Africans came here and then they returned. Nigga, that's a reach. Because the Africans that they say came here in 1619 didn't even come from Africa. They came from the Caribbean island. Nigga, that's a reach. So, like I said,
you talking about those? You talking about those Africans that shit, bro? Because y'all focusing just on North America. Y'all just focusing on the United States. Y'all not dealing with the Caribbean. Y'all not dealing with South America, whatnot. Y'all deal with Aboriginal history.
Even when we deal with anywhere else, the epigraphy, the genetics, the science does not say African science. You can't name me one African tradition, one African custom, one African artifact, fruit, veggie, or any type of epigraphy that came from Africa that was being used 2,000 years ago in America by any Aboriginal tribe. You couldn't name one thing. So that's a super reach.
I mean, yeah, we weren't here. I mean, unless you dealing over here or whatnot, we weren't here. And then the black, you want to deal with the blacks that were here? Okay, I give y'all this. Y'all want to deal with the blacks that possibly came from the West Coast or whatever? Those were the Pacific Island niggas and shit like that. We talk about the Aboriginals from Australia that they say sailed over here and whatnot. They found DNA evidence of them being over here.
Show the proof. There's no tribes here in America. There's nobody in America, South or North or Central, that's running around with the Aboriginal Australian phenotype. I haven't seen one. So that's a reach.
Matter of fact, here's a bigger question. Why is it that the American Negro, when he moves up and down the United States, is always considered a migration? Why can't we immigrate within the United States? If we're foreign, why can't we immigrate within the United States?
I mean, because we've been here for 400 years. I mean, we did it since like the white boy. The white boy ain't natural over here. They call his shit. They make his shit as a migration. They're not saying he immigrated or whatever.
But that's still bullshit. Because here's the thing: if they're talking about a particular time, if they were speaking in the 1800s about black people moving to the United States, no one ever said they immigrated anywhere. They migrated.
Let's see if we can get some more Pan-Africans on here. King Cass come with the same nonsense. No data, no sources to back any of it, nothing that he say. So it's just going to be a useless conversation, a bunch of speculation and misinformation. So that's a fact. Shout out to somebody else in the chat, man. What are other Pan-Africans? Where's Mr. Black at? I seen you in the chat. Let's get a couple of these trolls off of this motherfucker. Mr. Black, you can come on in. Who else? Who else was it up in here? Somebody help me out. Hood 369, bring your ass up in here. Y'all had questions in the chat. Think I got time today. This nigga said we've been over for 400 years. This nigga still old Jacobite ass history. Nigga got beat and stuffed on a goddamn sardine ship, nigga.
I can never trust a man that transformed over their own grandparents.
None of them slaves, then none of them get a bright idea to fuck up all the white people on the boat. Ain't none of y'all get the bright idea. But they come to America and become rebellion and shit all of a sudden. Like, get your ass the fuck out of here. I don't want to hear that shit. They great warriors and revolution. Get your ass out of here. Y'all should have been revolutionary on that goddamn boat. Seriously. Nobody want to hear that motherfucking shit. For real.
Yeah,
Ain't no more Africans gonna come on the panel. The curse of ham ass niggas. Yeah, these curse of ham ass niggas. Oh, Canaan be out thou looking ass niggas. Man, bring your ass on this panel. Cause we got sources. We want to source up today. Oh, my bloodline go to Adam and Eve looking ass niggas. If African, look, black still asking questions in the chat. Bring your punk ass on, black. Don't get in there and start chatting. Come on here and speak like a man. You got the sources. You said I'm always running. You the one said I'm always running. What am I running from? Articulate yourself. Yeah. They keep coming over here with this old Huguenot Jacobite ass slave story. Man, y'all niggas need to go do some more history. Niggas y'all learning from don't even want no smoke.
That's a fact.
Y'all niggas push this black European shit. Y'all ain't believe anything. Shout out to Hefe. You know they believe anything. These niggas just not, and these African dudes believe anything. They believe they transform from a monkey to these smart ass humans or starving ass Africans or something. Like, come on. Y'all got to be more careful than that, G. Seriously. They came over here 400 years ago. Man, nigga, get out of here. What about the Olmecs, nigga? What about the Powhatan, nigga? Well, these was Africans that came over here long before that. They ain't got not one source for that. Well, Mansa Musa sailed over here according to Abakari, so nigga, get your ass out of here. We not about to do that. We know where y'all niggas gonna go with it. Y'all only got a few places y'all can go with the angles. Be killing them every time. We don't know why y'all keep pushing this out of Africa theory. When it's a fact that my niggas I'm in America. My mama was born in America. My mama's mama was born in America. My mama's mama's was born in the fucking America. You understand that? And that's the same for my granddaddy on both sides, all the way up the motherfucking lineage. The bones are in American soil. And y'all want to keep telling me I'm Africa. Y'all niggas is lying. I want you to go to that little town where y'all family buried at in Africa. Like I said, that's bullshit.
Matter of fact, I got a little food for thought. You know, I was in the military, right? So when I was in the military, you learn the history of the military and how it was started. This is why I think niggas need to really fucking wake up. You know what I'm saying? This military wouldn't be if you wasn't here. All right, that's number one. But they tell you that Indians were driven out of every military base because most military bases in the United States is built on Indian land or Indian territory. So they tell you this, and they say they push all the Indians outside of those bases. When you go to most of these military bases across the United States, most of them, you either gonna find some of the oldest Negro towns, and the Negroes are sitting outside the military bases. So they telling you everything that's happened to it. And we are the ones buried on the inside if you find Indian burial ground. That's our people.
That's a fact, bro. And like I said, and a lot of them didn't get pushed out of the earth. A lot of them stayed. And you got to realize after the secession war, a lot of our peoples was introduced to what they called the surrendering, where they was under United States jurisdiction at that point. Cause at one point in time, shit, grandmama, you know how it was. Grandmama fucking gotta go build a house wherever she wanted it at. You know what I'm saying? Wherever the land that they been at, they can get a house built there. You feel me? And they often built several houses on their land. You see what I'm saying? They didn't have to ask nobody. They didn't have to get that shit up under code until they came up under jurisdiction. They didn't have to pay taxes. You see what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? This is after the secession war. You see what I'm saying? So we got to do a lot of realizing that a lot of the shit took place during the late 1800s. The history that you're reading start being fabricated in the early 1800s. This is what they call the Reconstruction period.
And also the KKK wasn't created until the 1870s, along with the Reconstruction period. Everything got to make sense to everybody.
Who helped create the KKK? Knights of the Golden Circles. That's part of the Choctaw. Albert Pike had a half Choctaw son, and had half Choctaw nieces, nephews, cousins, and shit. That was leaning towards the auspice of the United States or the Union at this time, which helped form the Knights of the Golden Circle. The Knights of the Golden Circle gave the order and foundation to what we call the Ku Klux Klan, which was a secret organization under the Choctaw Iroquois Confederacy. These are another band of $5 Indians, right? Using the tribal rule to get over on other brothers that was being misclassified.
Yo, hey, who is this? The Mexican is Aboriginal. He should bring his ass on here so he get chopped up.
The Mexican is Aboriginal.
Whoever that is.
On her, he retarded. He in the back. I don't want him. That's King Cass. He ain't got no information.
Oh my God! Now he got the Mexican in his mouth.
He sucked the Mexicans off so much. He think that Mexicans are Aboriginal people when Mexicans are mixed people. He's telling me that there's original mixed people. Like the first people was mixed people. Like that's weird.
That's crazy.
That's super weird.
Who said that?
This nigga right here, King Cass. I'm about to let him on right here. I'll let y'all talk to him. Go ahead, King Cass. You got the floor. Go ahead. Spew us with your pseudo soup.
and yo, you know it's crazy, and you know what I'm saying. I feel like people cognitive dissonance is so bad that you know what I'm saying. Because when you start talking, and you start to realize like, hold the fuck up, this our planet, right? So a person would know in the back of their mind that this our planet. But because of the cognitive dissonance that, you know what I'm saying, kicks in, they can't accept that melanated people populated every area of this planet. Which that, yes, the first Americans were melanated people, not mixed people. But, like I said, it's the cognitive dissonance that, you know what I'm saying? Even though they know, like, damn, yeah, melanated people were the first people, I just can't accept that they were the first Americans because they so in love with this African shit.
But, what I need to do is bring some of my homeboys over that came from Panama, Belize. That live around them pyramids and shit, and they'll tell you who's painted on the wall. They know who the fuck they is. Like it's sad to see a Negro of your own kind still this goddamn blind. Like whoever King Cass, he the nigga who we was fighting against in the first place. He the reason his mentality is part of the reason why our people is in the condition we in. These wannabe African niggas. You a wannabe ass. You don't even want to be your own self. You don't want to be a nigga from Detroit. Ain't he from Detroit? Like this shit's sad, bro.
You want to be a continent at that though. That's my thing. My thing is, nigga, where? You can't be African. You have to be a part of a nation from Africa. Stop saying you a fucking continent. Like, what type of shit is that, bro?
That's what's crazy. That's what's crazy too. A continent. Facts.
So what's wrong for saying you're African?
What did you just say? What did you just say?
What's wrong for saying you're African?
See that question right there? Look, that question right there shows that you lack comprehension. That question right there, because what you're saying right now is you're asking what's wrong. This is not a right or wrong conversation. We're not saying that it's wrong to be African. We're saying we're not that. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not a matter of a wrong or right type of thing. This is we're speaking from a narrative of, first and foremost, you can't be a continent. What part of Africa?
Let me say this right quick. Jay Weezy, where you from, bro?
I'm from Cali.
You from Cali?
Yeah.
Your people's from Cali?
No, originally from Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Okay, cool.
All right, here's a question. That's like saying, okay, you know your people from Philly, right? But you live in Cali.
Yeah.
Are you from Philadelphia or are you from Cali?
I'm from Cali. My parents moved to Cali.
So that's where you grew up, right? Now imagine somebody coming over to you and your household, telling you exactly your whole family history, where you come from. They're not getting it from you. They telling you, and they telling the rest of the world about you. None of the bullshit information that kids learn in school comes from black people, about black people. They don't get that from us. Our grandma tell us that we goddamn Indian.
Well, what she means by Indian, like by Native American or Aboriginal?
We
I'm not
Aboriginal.
I'm not even gonna lie, bro. You sound a little immigrant-ish.
He sound Mexican.
I'm not a Mexican, nigga. I'm from Cali, homeboy. What you talking about, nigga? I'm from LGC, nigga. Eastside Hazelwood.
I said what you sound like. I don't
Shit, nigga.
Sound like a Somali.
Yeah, where your grandparents
from? Nigga, I'm from Cali, nigga.
Where was your grandparents born?
I just told you, Philly. And also, they came from North Carolina. So, what's up?
What part of South Carolina?
I don't even know. My dad said they came from North Carolina and shit, and they went to Philly.
So you consider yourself an African?
Yeah.
Why?
That's what I am. That's where my ancestors came from.
How do you know that? What's your confirmation? That's why I'm asking you. What ancestor?
What's the name? What's the name of that ancestor that came from Africa, and what year did they come to America?
I don't know their names, but I know they're all from Africa. We're not no Aboriginal for a fact.
How you know when you just said that? I just asked you where your people's from. You didn't name Africa. That wasn't the first places you named, so that ain't the first places your people was from. Come to thought, so you had to regurgitate that and say, "Well, all my ancestors is from Africa." You just named your grandma. Said they come from Philly. Then you said they peoples come from the Carolinas. So what part do they come from Africa, brother? That's all I'm asking.
Let's see.
What I'm saying is you're pretty equipped with understanding the American lineage, but it don't seem like you have any knowledge on your African lineage. You track us back down to there. When did they come? What's the name of it?
So if you're taken from your own homeland in Africa and been enslaved for many years, can't practice your culture, your language, and your heritage, you're gonna know shit.
That's not true.
All the generations ain't gonna really know nothing.
Okay, and that same narrative could be
because you
true
can't
about.
Practice.
Hold on,
you can't practice.
That same
practice your culture if you're enslaved every day.
And
if
that
I
same
work your ass every day,
you could say that same thing about like, so you saying somebody kidnapped you, quote unquote, you've been enslaved for all of these years, and you know what I'm saying, you lost touch with your culture. Those same people that kidnap you could brainwash you and tell you that that shit was your culture when it wasn't. You understand what I'm saying? It's the same, like that's what I'm saying. It's the same thing. Where's the actual proof besides a person telling you they kidnapped you and took your culture? That's not proof.
There's proof. There's documents and everything. So how is not proof? Even their slave ships are still there. You can laugh all you want. So what makes you an Aboriginal? Tell me. Just because your grandma told you you were Indian, does
My
she
people,
mean?
the first people of this land, all my ancestors' bones are in this land and reside and occurred in this land. That's
All right.
how.
So which bones are there? The one. So
You
which
a
bones are
tether.
your
I can
ancestors?
tell. I can tell
You're
you. You
tethered.
some
No,
type
no,
of
no, 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 no. Don't be jumping now, nigga. Be on that bullshit, boy. So who are your people in those bones?
This dude,
So
first off,
which bones are these? Tell me which bones are the ones they found that are Aboriginal.
All of them. Name the
All of
name.
them. Which ones?
I want you to name me the bone that's a Native American or
Native
African.
American. They already found Native American bones, and their
Name it.
DNA
What's the
ties
name
to
of
the
them?
Native
What's the name of
Americans.
it? What's the name of them bones? What's the name of it? I'm gonna look it up right now in real time.
Oh shit! They came from the mounds. Some of them came from the mountains, and they have
No,
burial
what's the
grounds.
name of it?
Come
These
on
names,
now.
these bones have
I
names.
don't
What is
know.
the
I
name
don't
of it?
know
You
no
got
fucking their
Wicked, you
names.
got Lucia, you got
I don't
Naya.
ask questions
You
about these
got
niggas.
you don't have the source. Shut up. You just making up shit. Talking about they found Native Americans in a bone in the mounds. Ain't nobody found no Native American bones in no fucking mound, bro.
Yeah, there is. That's where they buried their dead.
You sound like a white boy. I ain't
You
gonna
can't
lie.
like shut the fuck up, nigga. You sound like a fucking
You
self-hating
don't
ass
like
pussy, nigga. Get the
hey,
fuck out of here with your
hey,
bullshit,
he
nigga.
definitely not black.
Hey,
Definitely ain't
you
black.
why you trying to act like us, bro? Why I know you ain't got won't you why you being dishonest about your culture, G?
Why you
Stand
being
on your
dishonest about
culture,
your
bro.
culture,
Don't try
nigga?
to
You
act
supposed to
like us.
be
We
back and American, fool. What the fuck you
came in
talking
your
about,
shame
nigga?
shack that you come from, bro. Like
Shame,
these
nigga, you the one that shame. Call yourself Aboriginal. You don't even have no culture into it or
why,
no fucking language. You
why
gotta
you
make up
ashamed
a
of
whole
your
history.
African culture, G?
Everything you guys talk about is all fucking made up.
Hey,
You guys live in a
listen.
fantasy.
I asked this immigrant, where you from? I said,
Immigrant, and nigga, you the immigrant, motherfucker. You came here 400 years ago, bitch.
Man,
You
I
talking
cut the
about
flow
bitch ass
off.
nigga?
I asked this stupid ass immigrant where you from. He said Philly, Carolinas, Cali, all these other places. Nigga, you ain't. Why you want to be us so bad? Talking about you an African, white boy.
Nigga,
Nigga,
you a
don't be
straight
ashamed of your
dumbass.
culture,
You a
man.
damn shame of who you are, motherfucker.
Sound like you got some Jollof in your throat.
Self-hating
Who
coon. That's
who
what you are. Self-hating coon. A self-hating
Hey, Jay Weezy,
coon.
you need to
You
clear your
just want to
throat,
be
bro.
like everybody else, you bitch ass nigga.
You, you need to clear your throat from the Jollof, nigga. So, hey,
Yeah.
and guess what? Stop feeding your mommy donkey meat and stop trying to cloak as a black American, okay? That ain't what we do. That ain't good for your health, son.
Look, hey, what's funny is
About
he's saying that we don't have no culture here, bro. Everything
Yeah, so
about
what culture?
America,
What's everything? Tell me
everything about
everything.
America is us.
all the culture
Everything,
is dumbass.
nigga.
We no
The
longer
fact
in
that you say
Nigga,
slavery.
the fact that you use the word nigga is us. Stupid.
niggas doing
Everything is
stupid. Shut
us.
the fuck up, nigga. White folks called
Weirdo.
us that. What the
Get your
fuck you
weirdo
talking
ass
about?
off here, bro.
They're the one calling us
Get your
niggas.
weird ass off here, bro.
Hey, listen, bro. He a
Yeah, I
weirdo
want to
though.
be
You
Aboriginal.
gotta let these little weird ass dudes know that they just supreme weirdos, and they come on these panels. They have fetishes about being Black Americans, and they want to
Nigga,
be
you
Black
are living
Americans.
in a
These
fantasy. You
niggas
live your
is so
life in a
not
lie,
connected
you
with
motherfucker.
Africa. They
This is
they
a
they
white
just
bitch.
weirdos. Jay
Nigga, you
Weezy,
fucking,
this is not a
nigga,
good
you a
look
white
for you,
supremacist. You
sir.
fucking hate yourself.
This is not a
Fuck
good
your
look for
self-hating
you,
coon.
sir. Stop being ashamed of your
You are.
culture. Own up to your little pink check.
this nigga just said all his family came from America, but he African.
That's
How?
weird. That's weird.
How?
People
Where
weird.
where are you
People
connected
just
to
sit here
Africa
and
at
look
in
weird
your
on our
lineage?
panel.
Where are you connected to Africa at in your lineage? Where?
This nigga keep watching BET trying to get part of our culture, and he coming on here looking crazy as hell. Bro, you gotta let it go.
I'm trying.
This is what I'm talking about, y'all.
I'm really trying to figure out, like, cause you know what I'm saying. A lot of motherfuckers so indoctrinated that they don't even know where the fuck they learned they was from Africa at. You feel me? They just like, bruh, you so
So where?
indoctrinated,
All right, all right. So if you're an Aboriginal,
bro.
where's your
Answer
tribe
my
from?
question. Don't ask me no questions
Where's
until
your
you answer
tribe?
my question.
Where
Answer my question. Where's your family connected to Africa at? Don't ask me no questions until you answer my question. Don't ask me no question
Africa?
with no question.
They were from West Africa, fool.
What part? What part of West Africa, and who's the ancestor?
Oh, let me see. It's hard to know that if you could find out who they are and what
Man,
their name
shut
is.
your
What the
slave
fuck is
ass up.
ass
You a
question?
retarded ass tether. Shut your retarded ass up.
What part
You
of West
coming over here
Africa, and who is the
sounding like
ancestor?
goddamn Sammy Davis Jr., retarded sounding ass little motherfucker, boy. Get your shit. This nigga a child molester. Get his ass out of here. You sound like one of them. I think I heard your voice on Dateline about 8 times, little buddy.
You gonna answer the question?
No, he trying to Google some bullshit, but he can't because ain't
He
no
trying to
information
Google
for him.
some bullshit.
I want to know how the fuck you guys are Aboriginals and where
My
you came
nigga,
from.
answer the question.
My nigga,
Answer the question. Stop
you
asking
asked
questions
stupid
until you
questions.
answer the question, bro.
You
Stop it.
act. Look,
Stop
nigga.
it. It's
Look,
plenty of
nigga.
video.
Listen.
Yo, bro.
Listen, nigga.
You
Listen.
listen. You on this platform, so I know you watch his videos. There's plenty of videos that you could look up of niggas
He a dick
explaining
eater.
everything you asking right now. You asking a question that you could
No,
look
nigga.
up.
I've been all
Answer the
you guys'
question, my
videos. You
nigga.
guys can't even explain shit. So let
Man,
me
this
Answer
tell you
nigga
the
over here.
question.
nobody.
Listen, he ain't gonna be able to answer your question. He dick washing the white man's information. He just dick washing them.
Exactly.
That's what
So
he
until
do. He dick
exactly.
washing.
So
Sucking on
until
their
you can
dick because you
answer
want to be
these questions,
Aboriginal
my
so
nigga,
much.
shut the fuck
Nigga,
up.
you wanna be
So,
Aboriginal so much, nigga. Shut your ass up.
man, I don't have self hate in me.
Nigga, you can't. You apparently you do.
You're
You can't
nothing
even
but a
say where
white
you from.
supremacist.
Like you ain't even come here to
I
learn. You
told you
come here
where
to
I'm from,
bullshit,
nigga.
nigga.
I told you
Hey,
where I'm
Like
listen,
from.
on
I'm no
some real
longer
shit.
gonna
On some
I'm
real
no longer
shit.
going to
I just told
entertain
you
this
everything I
tether.
know.
I'm no longer going to entertain this tether. His trolling is no longer fun no more. You got to be a little more articulate than that. This guy's a supreme. He kind of trying to fit in, bro. You don't got a lot to kick it, bro. We know that you a white man. You come from some shitty ghetto in Europe, and, and you want to be a black American on the internet so bad.
Yeah, I can hear something in his voice. You feel? You know how they got that shit in their voice?
He either a white man or a Somalian.
No, he got some. Hey, he got some Hispanic. I can hear that shit.
That was a white Mexican.
That dude got some Hispanic in his DNA, talking that bullshit. You just come here to bring his little bullshit with him, man. We ain't nobody stunning that shit.
Oh, that was a wetback. That was a beaner. That nigga on here talking about him. I'm African.
A straight Zimmerman.
Somebody said he sound like Esky. You ain't got a lot to kick it, cuz. There. Cuz say, yeah, I'm black. He sound like he was eating on something. What the fuck? This nigga don't sound black, yeah. I know my peoples, man.
That's probably King Cass homeboy.
That nigga half black and Mexican, probably. That nigga don't know what he is. He African and Mexican. This nigga named Bishop. This nigga named Umbutu Gonzalez. Get your stupid mixed ass out of here. You don't know what the fuck you is. Stupid ass.
Then why they be on these platforms though? That's my thing. Like, bro, it's a bunch of Pan African YouTubers and shit like that. Stay your ass over there.
Man, the Pan Africans suck. They suck so much. These niggas' information suck. I'm talking about. I seen Pan Africans that been around for 50 years. They might got 10,000, 30,000 subscribers. They might get 28 people in the live stream. Cause they information suck. Nobody listening to that bullshit no more.
Yeah,
Motherfuckers
that's
on the real. Motherfucker listen to what Granny said. Motherfucker checking their genealogy. Motherfucker ain't listen to this narrative that the white man said.
my
You
thing is
niggas
this.
walking this motherfucking narrative and keep bumping into the same wall. You dumb motherfuckers, turn around and do something else.
That's my thing. Like these niggas claim niggas was enslaved. They claim they stole your heritage. They claim all of this other shit, but you can't admit that these motherfuckers lied to your ass. But they told you the truth about your history, though. They did all this
They
other
told you
shit, but
all
they
the
told you the
truth.
truth about your history. Okay.
They told you the complete truth, nigga. They said they beat you and snatched you, nigga. They beat me and snatched me, nigga. That's what they believe. Stupid motherfuckers. Don't keep talking about, oh yeah, the Egyptian pyramids, nigga. You got pyramids right down the street. You don't know a nigga in Egypt, but you know niggas all across America.
Nigga, our pyramids bigger than they shits.
Hey, if they do their studies, they'll find that it's Egyptian artifacts found in the pyramids here.
Man, they found Egyptian artifacts in Tennessee. They found Egyptian artifacts in the mountains of Ecuador.
Everywhere.
They found shit all over the goddamn place
Everywhere.
around the fuck. From every culture you can name, they get that the white man has classified. You find the artifacts here before the classification. You see
And
what
instead of trying to disputing the shit, why don't you just simply look the shit up? Just look it up.
Yeah, they too retarded. If Dr. Ben told them, they'd be saying it. That's what I'm saying. I wish Dr. Ben and Dr. John Henry Clark was still around, because they wouldn't be teaching that Pan-African shit no more.
That's a fact.
They were smart brothers. They would be teaching what I'm teaching right now.
That's
so
what I'm saying. You move with the times.
On the board, man. You niggas is done with.
They fantasize about these leaders, these Pan-African leaders who've been teaching these shits for hundreds of years and hundreds of years.
The link is in the chat. The link is in the chat. The link is in the chat. They don't eat anything we eat. Hell no. Go to, just type in traditional street food in Miami and then go type in traditional street food in Nigeria and see what the fuck you gonna get. You see what I'm saying? You gonna fuck around and get some bush meat. And you fuck around, might get a little fish sandwich down there in Florida. You know what I'm saying? A little fried fish sandwich. You see the difference? Yeah. Nigga, our cultures is not the same. We not the same. Motherfucker keep talking about what is our culture. Everything that America got to offer is nigga culture from America. You can find it being done thousands of years ago. Now, if you motherfuckers disagree, name something that's American culture, traditions and customs that America presents that ain't a nigga culture before. Now go ahead. I'll wait, nigga. That's what I thought. You niggas gonna stay there and keep talking. You ain't gonna hit the link and come talk about nothing. Because all I gotta do is pull out one source and I'm gonna walk you down with culture. One source. I'm gonna just go to one book. Matter of fact, it's gonna have multiple sources. Encyclopedia is loaded with sources. So I go to an encyclopedia and just load you with culture. Our peoples was eating corn and shit. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't eating no barbecue rat. Africans don't even got vegetables on their menu because they don't have agriculture. Seriously. Most of these people are nomadic tribes. Nomadic tribes are not cultivators. A nomadic tribe is not there long enough to cultivate. So who the fuck cultivate the land then? If all these tribes are nomadic, wandering fuckers looking for meat, going around chasing gazelles and shit. Our peoples were smart enough to know shit. We'll snatch up a couple of goats, get a male and female. We gonna make them motherfuckers do what it do. Get some more goats. You understand me? Give me time to grow these good vegetables. See, you motherfuckers ain't understand the ecology yet. My grandmama wasn't there to eat that shit. She'd go in her backyard, fry some green tomatoes, some fucking fried okra. You understand me? Ain't nobody eat no worm sandwich. My grandmama would never. Y'all grandmamas do that. No offense to you Africans. I understand you gotta get your protein, however the protein come.
Matter of fact, it's just simple, man. Like we know we got people that tell us who we are, and they don't read shit. They don't even read their own genealogy. They come over here talk about some stupid ass DNA instead of looking down the line their own bloodline. Now I guarantee if people look at records, census records, when you see anything black, most of these people are from states. A lot of times when you see anything other than black, you see these people coming from somewhere different. They're coming from somewhere different, a whole nother country. How you gonna say all these black people in these census records is from another country? It's just, the shit is weird, man. The shit just gotta stop.
This shit definitely gotta stop. You know what I'm saying? So I encourage everybody to do their research. I ain't gonna be on here too long. Let me get ready to wrap the show up. With the fire show. We'll get to the second half of the video tomorrow. Make sure y'all tune in. Shout out to everybody who came on, brother Indigenous, Job Bricks. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody in the chat too, man. Give yourself a pat on the back. You know what I'm saying? Give y'all own self a motherfucking pat on the back. Y'all do too. Shout out to the motherfucking realest chat around. Make sure y'all drop them fire emojis before we get out of here. Drop them fire emojis in the motherfucking. Make sure y'all drop them. Make sure y'all hit that like button before you get out of here. And if you haven't shared the live stream, go ahead and do that for your boy. Share the live stream. You know what I mean? Share the live stream. Tell people support the channel. You understand me? It shouldn't be too much to it. Tell the brothers and sisters support the channel, man. Just trying to educate the lost brothers and sisters around us. That's all. With that being said, man, shout out to y'all. Make sure y'all be safe, be aware, stay vigilant, stay dangerous. Shout out to your American Aborigines and the FBA brothers and sisters in the chat. Keep doing your work. Genealogy is key. And being Aboriginal in this land is power. That's why my name is Aboriginal Power. Shout out to y'all, man. We out of here.
Coco, this your season right now.
They won't see me. They won't let me yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, keep my stomach paranoid. Yeah. I won't let them They won't see me. Yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, keep my stomach paranoid. Yeah. I can't let them They won't see me. Yeah. I put attention, all of my blood, all of my veins. They started with Perky, now that hair by numb his veins. You started with serving, now them drugs drove you insane. Started with dealing, I grew up with killers, they taught me the game. I got some niggas that die behind, and that shit won't never the same. I know some niggas that lie behind, and that bullet had his name. Ain't no reason to cry about, cause that shit won't never change. MTF the 4th and P, my niggas can't get out the game. I gotta sleep with one eye open, been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the stern. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, keep my stomach paranoid. Yeah. I won't let them They won't see me. Yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the stern. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, keep my stomach paranoid. Yeah. I can't let them They won't see me.
Lost, see, I glossed too, we shit ain't been the same.